Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ramesh Swaminathan. I'm a Director of Product Management with Informatica. I'm part of HICS Innovation Forum. To talk to you a little bit about HICS Innovation Forum, this is a group, this is a champion group that is formed within HICS, which is looking at creating innovation, kickstarting innovation within the Telangana ecosystem. We are looking at innovative ways in which we can help the ecosystem. When I mean ecosystem, I mean students, I mean SMEs, startup companies, and large companies. How we can bring all of them together to bring in innovative products and solutions out of our region here in Telangana. I'm also part of a unique uh, center of excellence that we have kickstarted at HICIA called the Cloud COE. This Cloud COE was inaugurated in October of last year. The objective of this Cloud COE is to bring in innovative products and solutions that can help organizations, enterprises across the world adopt cloud solutions. The cloud as a technology, the cloud as a market is pretty mature and has been around for a long time. But enterprises today, even today, actually look at uh, lots of hurdles while adopting cloud technologies. And we at ICA Cloud COE are looking at innovative ways wherein we bring in various parts of the ecosystem, right? The cloud technology companies like Google Cloud, a member of whom we have in the call today, also bring in GSIs, bring in integration providers, large integration providers, service integration providers that are available within in Hyderabad, and um, and also the startups, and also the various startups that are creating innovative solutions on cloud, which could help address some of the adoption issues that these enterprises have today. We want to bring everyone together, create a body of knowledge, help the ecosystem grow, build products and solutions from the Telangana region, but can be consumed by the world. That's the objective of the HICIA Cloud COE. As part of the various activities of the Cloud COE, today we have a very interesting topic, which is very close to my heart because I come from the world of data. I breathe data day in and day out, where Ms. Jayanti Sampath Kumar is going to talk about transforming data into innovation. I strongly feel is data is the fuel that is required for innovation in the digital world that we live in today. The amount of massive data enterprises collect, the amount of massive data that enterprises process to provide solutions and services to their customers is humongous. And the opportunities that we have for transforming this data into innovative services and solutions with some of the technologies that is available today, which was not available earlier, is very interesting. With that, I would like to introduce Ms. Jayanti Sampath Kumar. She is an engineering manager at Google. She's a technology leader who has been working with Google for a very long time. And some of you must have known Jayanti as a fitness freak. She is well known in the world of fitness. She is a cyclist. She has done marathons, and I'm looking forward to listening more about transforming data into innovation and more about Jayanti herself. Yeah, Jayanti has been in Google for only 1.5 years, but then has been in the industry for a very long time. You know Jayanti for a very long time. Thank you, and over to you, Jayanti.
Thank you very much, Ramesh, for the wonderful introduction. I'm going to share my screen. If you could stop. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I hope you're able to see my screen.
Yes, we can, Jane.
Okay, let's get started. Welcome everyone to this first talk in the Cloud COE. I'm happy to present to you the work, part of the work we do on transforming data into innovation. So let's step back for a minute. Today, how many of you kind of take a taxi? You know, the way we used to take a taxi to go from place A to place B. Most of it is today is an online reservation, online hailing a cab with either a Uber or a Ola or anything like that. So what are they? They are fundamentally data companies. They actually have data on the drivers, data on the routes, data on who's available, and data on the map in terms of where one needs to go. So the whole transformation of trying to figure out a taxi, call a number, to using an app and then finding a taxi near you and then finding a cab near you and going, the transformation has been possible because of data. Fundamentally processes data, and that is what has made the transformation possible. It's the people, it's the process, the technology that they built, and ultimately it is the data. So innovation is the only way to win. For example, in the last 10 years, I think Big Basket has been around for probably 10 years. I have not actually gone to a grocery store. It's mostly been Big Basket. So that's another data company as well. Again, people, process, technology, and what they can do with the data is what enables us all to get the most value out of any of these businesses. Go to the next slide. So let me give a little bit of background on Google. Why Google, right? So everybody has used a lot of the products, that the logos that you see here, whether it be Chrome, YouTube, Maps, Android, Google One. So a lot of these products with greater than 1 billion users have data at the heart of it. Data and AI is in our DNA. If you take search, for example, it's about getting data from across the world and transforming it into useful information that can be presented to you when you actually have a query. YouTube is about video data, right? So at Google, data is at the core of our DNA, and then transforming it into innovation with AI and other techniques is what enables Google to be a company that it is. So what is Google Cloud? Google Cloud is about bringing these technologies and bringing these innovations to our customers and partners who can use this to innovate and have the data be valuable for them, transform the data that they have into innovation. So let's take a look at some of the top CIO magazine, some of the surveys, and what the heads of companies are thinking about, right? Organizations see that data and ML have a huge potential in terms of altering the way that the organization operates. But many are struggling to make it a reality. It's only about 10% of the organizations which are able to achieve significant benefits through their innovation on data and AI. But as you can see, about 30% of them believe that there's definitely value there. But there is a gap between who's able to actually leverage it versus who thinks, yes, it is valuable. I know I need to do something about it. Right? So the promise of data, AI, and analytics is definitely undeniable. And that's the reason we are here today. So by now, I think companies in all industries have realized that to compete in a fast-moving, fast transforming, and fast digitizing world, they need to become data companies. However, there is still a tremendous amount of difficulty involved in the process of becoming a data-driven, AI-powered organization. And there are very few companies which today are getting there. So why is that, right? So if we think about the business, the processes that we have or the systems that are built in many of these companies, there are various kind of systems which are being built to cater different needs. System that has been built to cater to batch processing needs or real-time processing needs may be a different system. There may be a different system that has been built for some BI data and something else maybe for a data science or that kind of data, maybe a warehouse, or maybe there's a data lake, or the way you have data for different usage will be in different setups, right? So this has resulted in huge amount of data silos, disconnected systems, multiple systems, disconnected systems, which are there in these various silos, which makes it so much harder to leverage this data and make it into a useful innovation that we can use. So the data is disconnected. This is what we can call as a big filter. There's a filter. I mean, you need to get to have a filter when you go from one data to the other, right? So how can we solve that? So what is needed to be able to solve this scenario? First is breaking down these silos. There are data and product silos. To give you an example, 90% of the employees say that their work is slowed down because of unreliable data sources. So there could be data in different silos, and the connection between it may be unreliable, and hence there is the value of the data is not there because of that. The next challenge is hybrid and multi-cloud. What happens is the data could be there in multiple places. It could be on-prem, it could be in cloud, and even in cloud, it could be in multiple cloud providers. Google is one of the cloud providers. It could be in Azure, it could be in AWS, it could be anywhere. And those are other silos. And then how do you do the governance and management of the data? There is some portion of the data that only some people have access to, some portion of the data that admins will have access to, or not everybody should be able to access all data. That outright, that doesn't make sense, right? So everybody has to have a certain piece of data they have to access to, but cannot access all the data. So how do you make useful innovation possible when you want to have this good governance model where you give people the level of access that they need for the right set of data, right? The next thing to keep in mind is some of our analytics that we do, or some of the insights that we get may need to be done in predictive, looking back. And that could be like some kind of a batch process. You look back and predict, and in real time as well. And based on the analytics, you need to take real time actions, right? So it could be some passive analytics as well as autonomous, right? So you could be some intervention may be needed, or sometimes you want to run it autonomously. So we want to move from some intervention needed for those analytics to being able to run autonomously, which is when we can get the maximum value out of data, right? And we need to move from doing this analysis to actually taking action on these. 80% of the analytics work is still descriptive in many of these companies. So we need to be able to translate that into automatable analytics. The next set of challenge is democratizing these insights, basically to empower everyone to be able to do these insights, regardless of whether they are a developer or whether they are a data analyst who's not the one who's writing code on a daily basis, but yet they have to be able to consume and do some interesting analytics on it. And it has to be possible in every industry. And we have to accelerate the time it takes to get these analytics done. So these are the top of mind problems that we need to solve to truly make data drive the innovation in all these companies. So next, I'm going to present to you the overall picture of the Google integrated data platform. So it's a busy slide with a lot of concepts and a lot of products. I'm going to walk you through at least the concepts here. So there are different type of users. There's the data engineer, the data scientist, and there's the developer, data analyst, and business user. So the data engineer is working with the data, cleans and makes the data useful, and ingests the data, transforms the data. And the data scientist actually works on models that work. Basically, what does it take, your AI, ML models, or what does it take to merge this data from various sources? The developer is the one who's actually coding up some of your relational databases. So coding up saying, what does it take to actually transform this data, writing code for it. And then the data analyst who can query analyze. And then we have the business user. Now, if you think about the set of operations that one needs to do to be able to transform this data into value. It would be collecting the data and processing it through multiple of these products. So these are all various products that Google has, and depending on the scenario, customers could use one of these products, depending on whether it is a real time or whether it is a batched operation, whether you want to integrate data from multi-cloud into Google Cloud, or you are working with exclusively Google Cloud Storage. So there are various storage options, there are various processing options. And then we have BigQuery, which is one of our flagship analytics platforms, in which you can have all the data and do some super fast queries, which helps you get your analytics done. And finally, we have the platform where you can visualize your insights, such as Lookup. Okay. So at the core of it are these different aspects of what we need to work on in the data. And there's a unified management and governance layer that we need to be able to do the governance on all this data, who has access to what, and how we can actually give the right access to the right set of people. So let's now see how we are going to do the three things that we talked about in the previous slide in terms of breaking down the silos and able to do the analytics and able to translate the analytics into insights. Let's talk about breaking down the silos. So at the heart of our Google Cloud's analytics strategy is our product called BigQuery. And BigQuery integrates with a lot of the other products. You can actually do data preparation. I know that Ramesh, you said you work on Informatica. Informatica is one of the data preparation kind of tools, and we have Cloud Data Fusion as well. So you can actually do the data preparation and do the ETL and put it in BigQuery. And in ETL, you can either do an ETL or ELT. And in BigQuery, you can actually do further analytics to get insights from the data. So BigQuery beautifully integrates with either the data preparation tools, or it's the catalog and governance, or with whatever business intelligence we need to get out of it, or with an AI kind of data science workload that you need to run. For that also, BigQuery integrates with it very well. And you can do either real time or a streaming ingestion, making it possible to support multiple of these scenarios. So BigQuery is an intelligent self-optimizing architecture with built-in ML. The key important aspect here is it has built-in ML support for a broader adoption and advanced analytics. And it can do either a simplified real-time or a batch, and it's reliable. It's a globally scalable product with predictable cost and with the reliability of 99.99% SLA, and more reliable than other clouds is. Now, how do we build on this? How do we build on the BigQuery product, right? So apart from having the data in BigQuery, we also enable BigQuery working cross-cloud. So we can actually have BigQuery, the compute aspect of BigQuery, run on AWS storage, run on Azure or on AWS. So we have built an architecture with which we can actually make this cross-cloud. So you don't really need to move even sometimes where your data is. We can actually work with BigQuery to give you a stateless compute and do a good computation and the analytics on top of wherever your data is. 80% of the businesses reported using multi-cloud in 2020. And 90% of them have plans to use multiple clouds providers over the foreseeable future, right? So for companies running a multi-cloud world today, what we need is a multi-cloud solution. Now, with this approach, we will be able to do the analytics on the data you have without having to move the data from one cloud to the other and struggle with that. So BigQuery Omni is the next product which enables you to do that analytics across multiple clouds. So it's a uniform programming model, and you can work with it either by putting the data in BigQuery or operating with it in a multi-cloud fashion. And apart from that, we have an analytics hub, which makes it possible for analysts to build rich models and analytics assets, right? No, you don't need data copies. With this at the center, you can actually do all sorts of different analytics from different angles. And it also works for commercial, public, and first-party Google data. Now, I'll talk about the first-party Google data in the next slide a little bit more, right? So what does Google offer apart from actually having users do analytics with their data, right? So we have to remember that Google has the asset of, was able to. So one Google solution strategy, right? So we have to remember that Google has the asset of having ads, search, maps, Android, and so many other products which various customers use. So what can we leverage from that? So let me give you an example, right? So we will go to this one case study called Google Search Trends, right? So let's say there's a retail customer who's looking at what are the customers, what is everybody in the world looking for? What are they searching for? So Google Search Trends is a great way for them to know what the world is looking for. And I'm sure that, for example, if we looked at it 2 years back, the most searched term was probably COVID, right? So by looking at Google Search Trends, we really know where the world is headed or what are they looking for, where are they going, right? So this incorporating or leveraging the work from Google Search Trends in BigQuery, you can actually use that as well as custom analytics of your data, leverage the search trends, and figure out exactly what you want to invest in. We can transform that into innovative suggestions in terms of do the analytics and then transform it into suggestions in terms of what we need to do based on that. So that actually gives a unique capability for customers of Google Cloud and BigQuery to come and leverage this search trends. And it could be in any vertical. It could be retail, it could be supply chain, it could be any of the verticals to leverage that to actually do better analytics. So now that we talked about what does it take to do breaking down the silos and how we can bring that all together under one umbrella of BigQuery, we can enable multi-cloud, we can enable hybrid cloud, we can even enable doing analytics using the search trends and other Google data as well. Now let's talk about how do we democratize real-time predictive analytics. So in this actually, BigQuery ML comes into play. So BigQuery ML, So BigQuery ML helps customers build custom models with standard SQL. They can build their models, execute the ML, iterate, and automate, and quickly roll this out. So it's super easy to use, and they can use they can use existing ML and AI services such as BigQuery ML, TensorFlow, and more. So this helps them do automated predictive analysis with all the data that they have. Sorry, my mouse was running too fast. So we talked about BigQuery ML, and this is giving you an example of the kind of BigQuery ML models that we support today, whether it be logistic regression, DNN classifier, AutoML tables, linear regressions, just starting with the linear regression, or time series forecasting. There are models today for all of these, and once the customer brings the data in there, they should be able to leverage a lot of these models to get their predictive analytics done. Now, how do you democratize insights? So if you remember, one of the key aspects of democratizing insights to be able to is to be able to enable everybody to get insights from the data, whether it be the developer, whether it be the data user at the end who actually is not actively coding, who is working mostly with the visual representation of the data. So it's about enabling each and every one of them to be able to get insights from the data. And how do we enable that? So what we do for being able, for enabling democratizing of the insights is to deliver it through multiple tools. So we can actually do the analytics and getting the insights through multiple tools, whether it be a self-service BI tool called Data Studio. Whether it be just Google Sheets, you can actually get some of the data from the BigQuery and then to Google Sheets to do your quick powered spreadsheets based insights, or you can use Looker. Looker is one of the products that is very good at doing visual analytics and giving you visual insights. Or you can also have a natural language interface to do these queries and get the right insights. Google's varied data experiences make it easy for any team to drive analytics from its leading DBMS platform. So let's look at a little bit more deeper into Looker. So data is great, but you need data applications to create value. And to make that available for everyone, we need a composable, extensible core framework or core, even a visual experience where you can actually make it composable, extensible, and build some of these rich data experiences with which even the end user who's not going to write a lot of code to actually do the ML models and all that, even the end user can bring it together and get these insights. So I'll give you one example of Looker. So UPS trucks in the US, for example, lot of their drivers applications are built on top of Looker. They use Looker API underneath. And so whether it be optimizing the packet delivery, optimizing the route they use, so they have had a lot of optimization and improvement in their costs by using Looker in doing that analytics. So apart from being a composable framework which did data experience, we also have cross-industry solutions that we are delivering called as vertical solutions. So we have canned solutions that anybody from one of these industries can come in and leverage and get their analytics done based on their pattern of usage, whether it be anomaly detection or whether it be fraud detection, for example. That's one of the biggest things in terms of whether it be credit card usage or any other usage, fraud detection, anomaly detection, fraud prevention, log analytics, having analytics on logs to see what's going on. Where are things going wrong if they're going wrong? Pattern recognition, predictive analytics, and real-time clickstream, right? As well as time series analytics. So there are these cross-industry solutions that we provide, like vertical solutions that many companies can come and leverage right out of the box, which really accelerates helping customers to get to their business outcomes. So next, I'm going to talk about a few examples of a few case studies. We won't go deep into any of the case studies. Maybe we can have a later talk where we can actually present a couple of case studies in depth. We'll give you a couple of examples, right? So one of the examples is Careflow, and this is the 8th largest retailer in the world by revenue, and it ingests more than 2 terabytes of data per day on their 700 plus terabyte data warehouse, which is built on BigQuery. And it serves more than 80 applications. And it executes about 100 million API calls every month to deliver a better personalized customer experience, right? And what Care4 has done is it's been able to scale their usage of doing these analytics with the help of BigQuery. I'll give another example, which is UPS I was talking about. They saved 400 million a day on fuel costs based on their analytics of optimizing the routes that they take in delivering these packages. So similarly, there are many more companies which have been able to save data and time, or costs actually, save money and time by leveraging the BigQuery analytics. So some of the examples in India are ShareChat, BigBasket. Some of they are Google Cloud customers as well. And with the help of analytics, they've been able to optimize their processor as well. So that brings us to the end of the prepared content that I had. I'm happy to take questions. Now I can see that there are questions on the chat. So I'm going to go and answer some of them. In the meanwhile, I will actually pull the slide on the products, because I think that's the core of what we do, the different products that we work on, and how each of these can solve the different scenarios that we have in terms of leveraging these to transform the data we have into innovation. Yeah, so Ramesh, do you want to say anything, or should I just take the questions?
No, please go ahead and take the questions.
Okay. So Google Cloud provides, so one of the questions from Vinay is, Google Cloud provides different connectors to connect with different cloud options for hybrid cloud solutions. You're asking if it provides? Yes. So one of the products I personally work on is called Data Fusion. And the goal of this product is being able to connect to various of these products, whether it be SAP, Oracle. We have connectors for each and every one of them, where you're able to get the data from these various providers, and then you can either transform and load them into BigQuery or load them into BigQuery, and you can do your heavy transformations and analytics in BigQuery. So I would highly recommend you to go follow up on this product called Cloud Data Fusion, which has these connectors. It has a huge number of connectors, and it enables connecting you to a varied set of sources. I hope that answered the question. For hybrid cloud solutions, what we mean by hybrid cloud is partly on-prem, partly in the cloud. So there are two terminologies I want to. So hybrid cloud is partly on-prem and partly in the cloud. Multi-cloud is, like I said, partly in Google, or you may have it in Azure or in AWS. So for hybrid cloud, the biggest thing we do is we actually can run part of our products on-prem as well, when it runs on a Kubernetes cluster. So the core is being able to have your Kubernetes cluster set up on-prem, and we can run part of our products on that. So there is the BigQuery Omni, which supports both of these modes. Yeah. The next question, is there any tool provided by GC for data governance? Great question. So that's another product that I'm working called Dataplex. We did a GA in February. You can look up Dataplex. One of the main goals of the product is data governance. So you'll be able to point to all your different data sources. So we are expanding the product more. Right now, it supports BigQuery and Google Cloud Storage. We can go discover your data, understand the metadata of the data, and specify governance in terms of who should have access to what piece of data. So we are working on it. We did the first version, and as you know, first version is going to have some features, but not all the features. So yes, we are investing in a product for data governance called Dataplex. And this is a competition to Azure Purview and AWS too. So that's the way that it's.
And Informatica products too. But
yes, Informatica today. Okay, absolutely right, Ramesh. Yeah. So one of our, for the Cloud Data Fusion, one of the product manager leaders called Chaitanya, he was actually leading product management in Informatica before that. So. Cool. Other questions? Are there any GCP analytics tools which helps in information risk assessment management? So I don't know the exact answer specifically to information risk assessment management. If you saw this, we are expanding some of the vertical solutions that we provide. So one of the things that we did talk about is fault detection and protection. So I'll have to get back to you specifically on information risk management. Other questions?
I think that's all we have, Jayanti.
Okay, great. Is there any specific area you would like me to deep dive on? I can talk a little bit more about open source analytics that we do. So I'm just going to go back to the same slide. I'm going to talk to you specifically about the products that I specifically work on. So I lead the data analytics teams in India, and we are starting a team to work on BigQuery. BigQuery is just starting out. It's predominantly a US-based team at this time. However, for three or four products, we actually have a team in India actively working on it. Let me that for a minute. Yeah, there we go. So here, if you see this product called Data Proc in the second row, so that's something that I work on. So what we do is open source analytics. So one aspect is you can use BigQuery at your heart in your center, and you can actually, it works with all the different products, whether it be data integration, whether it be AI, ML, it works on all of that. But there are some customers who actually want to work on open source. They don't want to work on any proprietary SQL. They just want to use open source, and they want to work with Spark and Flick, some of this open source software. So what we offer is a product called Data Proc, which is managed open source. So you can bring your Spark jobs and run them on Data Proc in a serverless fashion, or as well as you can have set up the saying that you want to run it on so many VMs and scale it appropriately. So this product I work on, we work on improving the performance of Spark and all of these open source software as it runs on Data Proc. So that personally I do. So if you have any more questions on that, I'm happy to help. I know that there are many companies. So I think we're actively working with a couple of customers in India who actually have an on-prem solution, and a lot of it is based on Spark because they wanted to go the open source way, and working on migrating them to Google Cloud and having this open source offering, which provides a managed service in which you can bring your Spark jobs and run on it, makes it very easy. So, any other questions?
If there are no more questions, can I ask a couple of questions to you, Jayanti?
Yeah, absolutely, Ramesh.
One question is for the benefit of all of us here. If we have to know more about these products, right? Are there any material available, online training available on some of these products? Because some of us who are in the call today, right, we would like to understand more about the products and how these products can be used for very specific business needs that we have. And where can we go to if we have to learn more about some of these products? Are there specific Google training available online or offline, or does Google conduct some of these trainings over a period of time that some of us can attend?
Yeah, so there are actually a few trainings online. I mean, of course, there's the Google Cloud website itself, which tells you what it's about. And you can actually try it for free. There is some $300 free credits that you can get. You can try it and play with it. So any new customer gets $300 of free credit, so you can play with it. And apart from that, there's a lot of documentation out there. And if there is training, I've actually seen quite a few training, like some YouTube-based training sources as well. So there are specific examples of user cases as well. If you just go to Google Cloud /BigQuery, for example, if we take BigQuery as the example.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can see, for example, e-commerce system, how does one do that? There are design patterns. I talked about design patterns, right? Predicting customer lifetime value. There is one solution there. And how do you get the data into BigQuery? And here we use the product called Data Fusion. Remember I said the one that I worked about, and you can get it from multiple sources, whether it be SAP or whether it be Beam. So you can get it from multiple sources. So there's examples there. And you can also get examples of customer examples, actually, customer use cases. So there is the usage of how New York Times, there are case studies of how New York Times modernized its data stack with BigQuery. And so there are multiple customers there, and you can look at some of those case studies there. For example, even Toyota increased its site conversion by 6x with analytics, right? And Home Depot is another big customer. Home Depot is a huge customer of GCP. I don't know if you're all familiar with Home Depot in the US. That's, I think, the largest home improvement store. They're not only a customer of BigQuery, they're a customer of multiple of the Google Cloud products, BigQuery, Dataproc, they leverage PubSub. So it's the whole architecture. So you can take a look at some of the Home Depot architectures here. What did they do? How do they automate some of their processes? So that should hopefully help. And similarly, there's a site for Dataproc. For each of these products, there is a site where you can look at some of these examples. If you want training, I have seen YouTube videos. I've not actually gone through some of them myself, but I've definitely looked at a lot of the customer materials.
Sure, thanks a lot. That's definitely helpful.
So Jayanti, there's one more question about predefined ML models available. Is it similar to Alteryx drag and drop?
No, I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with Alteryx drag and drop. Just give me a minute. Yeah, no, I have to do some homework on it. So the way the predefined models work is once you have your data in BigQuery, you can just start writing, select something, and you can select a model, and you can do the predictive analysis based on it. I've not used Alteryx drag and drop to compare and contrast. I can get back to you on that.
So if you have any questions, Vinay, you can always write to Haisya. We will connect with Jayanti and get your question clarified.
Yes.
And can I expand on what Vinay's question is, Jayanti?
Sure.
So I think what he's trying to ask is, well, I'm a little bit familiar with Alteryx drag and drop. So is there like some kind of a UI wherein you have these ML models available and I just select the model that I want, right, and make some changes? Yeah, the one before, right? So and use it in my processing, right? So for example, you have logistics regression, DNN classifier, and things like that. So I think what he's asking is, do you have sort of a easy to use UI wherein I can select the kind of ML models I want in BigQuery to process my analytics processes?
Yeah, so that is what exactly Analytics Hub is. I think I talked about Analytics Hub. So
Right.
it is a UI-based tool where you can actually write up your analytics. And I don't know about drag and drop, but you can actually quickly leverage some of these ML models as well. So do take a look at Analytics Hub, try it out, and you should be able to see. I'm not sure if you can get what you're using, what you're looking for. So for example, I'll give you an example. So we talked about the search trends, right? You can just right click on some of these data sets, right click and say, okay, build a model, and then squarely open up editor. You can have, you can type a select SQL query, and then you can say, I'm leveraging this model. And based on that model, I want some analytics. So I've seen it reasonably fairly easy. I don't know if that's what you mean by drag and drop. So.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I think those are the questions, Jayanti. So would you like to talk about any other example from your own field of work?
Yeah, so in terms of Dataproc, right? Let me just actually talk to you about the top customers that we are working with. Just a minute. So how many of you actually use Spark and open source analytics in um, your line of work? Do we have people who are using open source analytics?
You can use the hand button in the lower panel to say yes.
So one thing I would suggest that you go look at is one of the biggest customers for Dataproc is Wayfair. And they have done a detailed analysis of why they chose Dataproc versus some of the other complete clouds. And one of the biggest reasons is being able to work on unstructured data, structured data, and also integrating with BigQuery as well. So the whole integration and integration with the other PubSub and Dataflow and other products made it easier for them, right? So Wayfair they was able to recognize value with this. So let me just give you an overview of Wayfair. So they have like thousands and thousands of products, right? And how do you actually suggest which is the product that would be appropriate for this customer based on usage, based on similar products? So all of these analytics they actually do on Google Cloud. Another big customer who does analytics on Google Cloud is Twitter. All the Twitter, like 500 million tweets, all the tweets come in there, and they do analytics on in terms of either bad tweets or what they have to disable, even like for their ads platform, which tweets corresponding to which tweets should they have, do they show which kind of ads. So for all that, they use GCP and they do analytics on GCP for that. Cool. So do go take a look at some of these. If I think maybe we can actually, if we have a specific topic, we can do a hands-on workshop on that specific topic. Maybe how do you do an ML model using BigQuery? I think for that, for a hands-on workshop, we need to try a different setup. We can do a hands-on workshop where we help people do that.
One of the suggestions is if we can go through some kind of a demo video or something, right? In one of the sessions, that could also be helpful to this.
Sure. We can do a demo video.
Yeah, we can do a follow-up call sometime later
Yes.
to actually understand some of this.
Okay. Either a demo video or a hands-on session may be even better in terms of how to do that ML part.
Yeah, one of the activities in the Cloud COE is to have hands-on physical workshops where we want to bring people together at opportune moments and do a hands-on 3-4 hour workshops wherein people get to experience the products in person and experience it and use it and can adopt it in their work. Right? So that's the model that we want to follow in the Cloud COE, where we introduce a topic, we introduce products, we do a hands-on workshop, but the hands-on workshop we want to do it in a physical model where we bring people together in a room so that we are face to face and can ask questions and be a lot more interactive from an experience perspective, right? And that's something that we would want to do. We want to do at least one workshop every quarter where we bring in people together to do this. And we'll definitely contact you, Jayanti, if you can help us with one of these questions.
So Ramesh, you actually announced what I was going to be actually doing. In fact, Google has also agreed on doing a hands-on workshop with us. So this was going to be an announcement to all the participants who are attending the webinar. We are going to do a deep dive session on the concepts and the tools and the applications that Jayanti had just about introduced. And she also talked about a case study that we will be doing, in a very detailed manner. So that is going to be a in-person workshop. So we'll soon announce when we are going to launch that, and let all the participants who have particularly attended this workshop be informed about that announcement. So with that, I think we just have about another 5 minutes. If there are any further questions we can take, or we can close the session with that, Ramesh and Jayanti.
Yeah, I'll also send you the link for the data governance product. I think there was a
Yes,
on that before.
I think Vinay was asking that.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for taking time out on a Friday afternoon to go through some of these topics. But thanks a lot, Jayanti. It was an eye opener to me. Though I've been like working with some of these products or competitive products around these areas for quite some time now. Thanks for bringing this out to us, trying to explain this to us, how the whole Google ecosystem works with all these products, and hopefully it will be of help to all the participants today to understand the Google ecosystem and try use some of the products. Try apply some of what we learned today to your day-to-day challenges that you have in managing data as it flows within your system, as you use it for your analytical requirements at different points in time. Looking forward to the workshop. I personally want to be there in the workshop and understand these products much more. Thank you all. Thanks for your time, and feel free to contact Aisia. Feel free to contact Shanti. She is ever available to answer any of your queries and connect you to the right people for us to all learn these products. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for your time. Over to you, Shanti.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ramesh. Thank you, Jayanti. We'll see you in the next one. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks, everyone.
Have a nice weekend.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.